Number 12. Peter. Also known as Simon, Simon Peter, and Cephas, Peter was the leader of the 12 disciples. In what's known as the Great Fire of Rome, 2/3 of Rome burned down in 64 AD. The Emperor Nero blamed Christians and crucified Peter. He was crucified upside down because he felt unworthy of dying the same way as Jesus. Number 11. James, son of Zebedee. Also known as James the Greater, James, son of Zebedee, was one of Jesus' main disciples, and one of 2 apostles named James. As the only disciple whose martyrdom is recorded in the Bible, James died by sword at the hands of King Herod, who most likely beheaded him. He's considered the first person to die for Jesus. Number 10. John, son of Zebedee. John, son of Zebedee, was the 3rd member of Jesus' inner circle of disciples, and the brother of James the Greater. According to tradition, John was exiled to the island of Patmos, where he wrote the book of Revelation. He died in 98 AD from old age, unlike many, if not all, of the other disciples. Number 9. Andrew. Andrew was a fisherman and the first disciple that Jesus called to serve him. Although he wasn't one of the 3 main disciples, he was known as one of the disciples more closely attached to Jesus. Before that, Andrew was a disciple of Jesus' cousin, John the Baptist. Andrew was crucified in 60 AD in the Greek city of Patras. According to the Acts of Andrew, he was bound to an X-shaped cross, known as a St. Andrew's cross, because, like Peter, he considered himself unworthy of dying the same way that Jesus died. He remained suspended for 3 days, preaching the entire time. Number 8. Philip. The Apostle Philip is only mentioned a handful of times in the New Testament. He's one of 4 men named Philip who are discussed throughout the Bible. There are varying accounts of Philip's death, which likely happened around 80 AD. One claims that he died from natural causes, while other records suggest that Philip was stoned, beheaded, or crucified upside down. Number 7. Bartholomew. Not much is known about the Apostle Bartholomew other than his name. He may have gone by another name, and he's closely associated with Philip in the Bible. Bartholomew was likely martyred, like most of the other apostles, and there are a variety of claims about how he died. According to the most popular and gruesome version, he was flayed alive and then decapitated. Paintings depicting Bartholomew's death often show him cut up and wearing his skin, or holding a flaying knife. Other accounts of Bartholomew's death suggest that he was beaten and crucified upside down, crucified, taken down while still alive, and then flayed and beheaded, beaten unconscious, and thrown into the sea, and that he was just beheaded. While the specifics surrounding Bartholomew's death are unclear due to the conflicting stories, it's clear that he didn't die from natural causes or from old age. Number 6. Matthew. Also known as Levi, Matthew was a tax collector who collected money for Rome from fellow Jews. The circumstances surrounding Matthew's death are largely a mystery. One account suggests that he died of old age, but it's more likely that he was martyred like most of his fellow disciples. There are various accounts of what may have happened to him, including stories about him being beheaded, stabbed, burned, or stoned. Number 5. Thomas. Thomas the Apostle isn't mentioned much in the Bible, and the details of his life are conflicting and obscure. But he became well known for his skepticism during one particularly famous event that earned him the nickname Doubting Thomas. Thomas was martyred on July 3rd in 72 AD. According to tradition, he was speared to death in Mylapore, India. Number 4. James, son of Alphaeus. There are numerous speculations about him, but none of them can be proven as facts. Because of all this confusion, it's hard to say how James, son of Alphaeus, died. One account detailing the death of James, son of Alphaeus, claims that he was crucified during a preaching mission in Egypt. Another story says that he was stoned to death in Jerusalem. Regardless of how James the Apostle died, it's probably safe to say that he was martyred. Number 3. Jude. The Apostle Jude is known by several names, including Jude of James, Judas of James, Thaddeus, Judas, Thaddeus, and Lebbeus. It's hard to speculate about Jude the Apostle's life or death without considering it as a possibility, however. Tradition holds that Jude the Apostle was martyred alongside Simon the Zealot in what is now the city of Beirut in 65 AD. Number 2. Simon the Zealot. According to tradition, Simon preached in Egypt, but almost nothing else is known about him, and there are conflicting stories about how he died. The earliest records are from centuries after he died, which makes it even harder to say with any confidence what most likely happened. During the 5th century, the Armenian historian Moses of Turin wrote that Simon was martyred in the kingdom of Iberia. A compilation of the stories of saints' lives, known as the Golden Legend, claims that Simon the Zealot was martyred in Persia in 65 AD. Ethiopian Christians have said that he was killed in a central region of Israel called Samaria. One account says that Simon was crucified in Britain in 61 AD. Another story claims that he was sawed in half, while Eastern tradition holds that he died of old age in the ancient city of Edessa. Number 1. Judas Iscariot. The most famous, or perhaps infamous, apostle was Judas Iscariot. Even today, his name is synonymous with the word traitor. According to the book of Matthew, Judas hanged himself. The Gospel of Luke describes how Judas used the money he received for betraying Jesus to buy a field, where he fell head first. According to the scripture, his body burst open and his intestines spilled out. It's not clear what this means, and both accounts were written after Judas's death, so it's possible that the writers got some of the details wrong.